President Trump, fascists, propaganda, and the dumbing down of America. Uncle Al has had enough, and he's here to tell us about it with the latest Ministry album, Amerikkkant. Amerikkkant. It's about, don't be fascist. This is Ministry's 14th studio album, and it's their first since 2013's Beer to Eternity, and this is out on Nuclear Blast. I think this is the first album that he's done with Nuclear Blast since signing with them. Well, I'm walking along and I'm singing a song and I'm This is the first album he's done without Mike Scassia, if that's how it's pronounced properly, as I walk this barren waste. This is the first album without him, even though he died before the last album. He was actually, I think he'd recorded all his parts before and they were all included on the album posthumously. Al Jorgensen, of course the mastermind behind Ministry, stated that that would be his last album, that he wouldn't want to record anymore without Mike. But he said in recent interviews, and somewhat understandably so, that this was actually more of a reaction to the intrusive press of the time, who were just asking him what he was going to do, how his future was going to pan out, when frankly all he wanted to do was mourn the loss of his long-time friend. So that's quite understandable. This album was recorded very much in reaction to the Trump election, as many albums have been since that result. Improv. I think it's fair to say that Al is somewhat left-leaning. Improv. Lots of songs about anti-fascism, waking up, thinking for yourself, not letting politicians do your thinking for you. All of which are represented on this album. I need to go far, back to the car. All you need to do is take a look at some of the imagery included in the artwork for this album, and you'll see Trump is all over it, and indeed on the album itself many sound bites included of his speeches. Whoa, fuck. Why do I do these fucking reviews like this? The album features guest appearances from Burton C. Bell, most prominently. Also has there's kind of a bit of a revolving door policy on dependent on the tracks. As I go far, back to the car, da-da-da. There's a lot of drum programming, as you would expect, but also Roy Morgana, who I believe was from Soulfly and Stone Sour, if I remember rightly, does contribute to drums. Tony Campos, formerly of Static X, etc., performs bass duties on a lot of the tracks. And you also have DJ Swamp, Arabian Prince, and Lord of the Cello on strings, providing a lot of well-needed atmosphere. Some very highly acclaimed musicians on this album. This way by far, go back to car, da-da-ba-da, somebody car. There's been quite a lot of mixed reviews about this album, quite a lot of them negative, saying that it's quite dull and ponderous, and unlike previous albums that have dealt around similar tragic election results, lacks the passion or fury. But I don't see that at all. It's a slow build, I will say that. It's quite a slow build to the album, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think there's a tension on this album that reflects the tumultuous times that we live in. Just trying to make sure I am actually recording, that would suck. Ugh. My hair! My hair! Okay, I'm going to get pretty much straight into it today. First track is I Know Words. This is pretty much industrial looping with sound bites of President Trump. Basically select sound bites showing some of the more moronic things that that Mr. Trump has said. I know words, stupid words. We will make America great again. Only it's manipulated to be, we will make America stupid again. And that's pretty much all the opening track consists of. It's about 3 minutes long, I think, something like that. But it goes into Twilight Zone, track 2. And yeah, opens with some thunderous drums. Much more of that mid-paced industrial stomp that you expect from Ministry. Oh, God's sake. Snow's moving in, boys. Still loads of shit. There's a lot more President Trump sound bites in here, and Burton C. Bell lends a hand to backup vocals. It's kind of difficult to hear where Burton's vocals come in at times, because the style that's used with the processing, etc., is not dissimilar to what is used on Al's. But I think it's fairly easy to tell, because they're different people. Oh, this sucks. There was a guy walking this way earlier, and he turned back, and I thought, what a dickhead. And then I realised I was that dickhead. There's some effective use of harmonica on this song, played by Al himself, which I think really adds to the atmosphere of the song. Just read off some of the lyrics. Confusion and consent has always been their intent. Destruction of society unless we dissent. Shabby-dee-da. So I think it's pretty clear to see the message he's trying to get across in this song. Well, what is it? You know. Next song is Victims of a Clown. I guess that would be the people under the rule. Edgy. There's some great moments on this song. The last 30 seconds of this song in particular, which sounds quite ridiculous, but it goes into this major thrash out piece just purely for the last 30 seconds. Yeah, the last 30 seconds, we got it. Last 30 seconds, say it again. Could have easily done with a bit more of that, but I really enjoyed this one. Really enjoyed this song. Some real effective use of scratching as well by the Arabian Prince. I think he used to be in N.W.A. Used to be a member of N.W.A, which makes sense. And really works well on this tune. Lyrics again. Wake up, take it in, exhale, repeat, fire up, freak out, let it go. Next up we have an interlude piece. Oh God, how am I going to get through here? Fuck's sake. God, I gotta stop doing these reviews like this. Bloody hell. Shit. Waiting for lightning to strike. Wrong album. Bird on a wire. Fucking oh yeah. Yeah, next piece is the interlude, which is TV5/4chan, or / possibly, depending on how. Yeah, this is an interlude piece. Includes sound bites of racial America. Lots of talk from and about the KKK. Next up, We're Tired of It. Maybe this reflects the album sentiment overall. This has got a thrash riff that wouldn't be out of place on the Slayer album. To be fair, I really dug this riff, and it's this whole song itself is just under 3 minutes, and this is sung exclusively by Burton C. Bell, who does a fantastic job. Yeah, furious thrash riff, furious drumming, great lyrics and vocals from Burton C. Bell. Well, I don't know if the lyrics are by Burton actually. I didn't look into that actually. I know he sings them. Just give you a couple of the lyrics here. Corrupt little hands, you rigged the system, contraband. Thin-skinned, small eyes, evangelically forced to comply. He lies, hope is lost. I think that might be about Trump. Next up we have Gasm. There's a video out for this. There's spoken word pieces on this, which were done again by Burton C. Bell. This is highlighting America's love for war. Again, let's read out a couple of the lyrics for you. Death, power and sex. These are the things that we do best. Which country wants it next? Not many left to molest. Deep. The next song is the first single, the first track that anybody heard from the album, which is Antifa, or Antifa, standing for Anti-Fascist. This is about the anti-fascist movement of the same name. Starting to rain. Oh, fuck off. Antifa, the group, is an anti-fascist group that's known for their direct action to opposition. So they've been known for property damage and physical violence against the more right-wing groups. They pretty much consist of anti-capitalist, far left and militant left individuals who have no problem throwing down with the opposition. There was a recent interview where Al was actually talking about this group, obviously when he wrote the song, and he was saying how he didn't necessarily condone the actions, as it's not that far removed from what the opposition is doing, but he did love the idea of fighting back, of saying, if you fuck with me, I'll fuck with you, and standing up for what you believe in, and not taking it lying down. Yeah, very controversial song, this one. The opening riff reminds me very much of side 2 of Black Flag's My War. That slow, sort of dirgy, Black Sabbath, hardcore-esque type riff. Also reminiscent of very early White Zombie as well, sort of Gods of Voodoo Moon. Is it Gods of Voodoo Moon? I think so. Some of the very early White Zombie anyway. And once this got past this riff, we go into a more traditional Ministry riff that we all know. Couple of lyrics again from this one. I've got something to say to you. I'll back it up with my fist. Sick and tired of dealing with assholes. That's why I resist. We're not snowflakes. We are the Antifa. No fucking around. Next song is Game Over. More sound bites from Trump. Beloved Trump. Our Lord Trump. Trump, 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 Trump. There's a soundbite from a politician that opens the song. I'm not sure who the politician is, but informing us that, oh God, yes, informing us that our long national nightmare is over. Everything's okay, people. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. But Al informs us back. Hey, pay attention. Hey, or pay the price. Hey, not. Hey, not nice. This is basically Al telling us to keep our eyes and our ears open, to think for ourselves, not to accept what we're told by the powers that be. Not a bad sentiment. And finally we have America, the closing song. And this is probably the standout track for me. America is spelt Amerikkkk. And this is Al telling us about America in decline. Starts out with a crawling riff and some natural harmonics, gives it a really ominous, creepy vibe. There's some great use of wind instruments. I don't know if it's sax or trumpet, because I'm not that educated in these things, but yeah, some effective use of wind instruments, and there's a nice little guitar solo on here as well, which works quite well, adds a lot of atmosphere. Some of the lyrics I'll just quickly read you out here. Well, I heard some news today. I guess we're going to war. We don't know who we're fighting. We don't know what we're fighting for. And the next one, it's like the Nazis back in '39, like the Romans on the verge of decline, like the Russians back in '68. How is this supposed to make America great? Obviously, the lyrics are predominantly about America in this song, but I think it can be applied to a lot of different countries, and obviously America has such a prominent role in world politics and popular culture and influence, that it's hard to not let these things apply to us ourselves. Very thought-provoking album. Like I said, I actually really enjoyed this. There's a few people who were kind of moaning about it being not as furious or fast maybe as previous albums, but I really dug this album. I don't know if a lot of reviewers kind of intentionally just try to pick holes in things, to look for problems that aren't there. That's just not something I like to do. Somebody's gone out of their way to make a piece of art. I like to respect it and to give it its fair due. I thought this was a solid effort from Al, and yeah, I'm gonna listen to it again after this, to be honest with you. Very slow build, tension building, really atmospheric. Lot to like on this album. Check this one out. So that was Amerikkkant, the latest album by Ministry. what have I got coming up next? I'm not actually sure what I've got coming up next. I've not seen what albums are coming out next week. I've not had a chance to catch up with that. So what I am going to do is I'm going to try and get some viewers' requests done. It's about time I got my handle on that. So I had a lot of people requesting stuff, and it's not good to let people down. So I'm going to do my best to get some reviews done. I'm heading back to the car because this is shit weather, and I'll be back some other time with some other shit. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Always like hearing from you guys, and let me know what you think of this album as well. So I personally enjoyed it.